Good morning, class. We are going to be going over section 1.6, multiplying, dividing real numbers. So today we're going to be looking and going through a number of these of this section. But multiplying real numbers and dividing real numbers is what we're going to spend the time on today. All right. So first of all, so multiplication, we're going to go as you have normally. The biggest point to point out is if they're the same. If you have two negatives, they become a positive. If you have a positive and a negative, that's when you get a negative. Whether it's multiplying or dividing, same rules apply. Two negatives make a positive, a negative and a positive make a negative, or two positives make a positive. So those are the two big points. Not going to be using calculator, going to be doing it by hand. The other thing that we do, if anytime you multiply by 0, you get 0. This is, if you have three negatives, 1, 2, 3 negatives, in the end your answer will be negative, right? Two negatives turn into a positive and a negative make a negative. Here you have 1, 2, 3, 4 negatives, so two negatives make a positive, two negatives make a positive. In the end, you have a positive. Here, if you have 5, it's the same thing. Two negatives make a positive. So then you have a positive and a negative. Make a negative. And two negatives make a positive and a negative, make a negative. So if you have an odd amount, in the end you'll end with a negative. If you have even, doesn't matter, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, numbers that you're multiplying together. If there are 4 negatives, will make a positive. Anytime you have an odd amount, that will make it a negative. So when we go ahead and we multiply, in the end, if I have a positive and a negative, in the end, I will have a negative. Just to review how we multiply, we're going to go 54 times 21 times negative 21. Remember, we go 1 times 4 is 4. 1 times 5 is 5. Put a 0 underneath the 4, and then multiply by 2. 2 times 4 is 8. 2 times 5 is 10. Add them together. 4 plus 0 is 4. 5 plus 8 is 13. Carry the 1. 1 plus 0 is 1. 1 plus 0 is 1. So we'd have 1,134. Make sure we include a negative. So that's for example 1. Example 2, we'll go ahead and do multiplication again. I have a negative. Oops. Shows up, but I'll go through it. So negative times a negative is a positive, and so we get 0.52164. How we go through it is you have 3.24 and 0.161. I'm not worried about the signs right now. I already know I'm going to get a negative, so I'm just multiplying. 1 times 4 is 4. 1 times 2 is 2. 1 times 3 is 3. 6 times 4, sorry, put the 0 underneath. 6 times 4 is 24. Carry the 2. 6 times 2 is 12. Plus 2 more makes 14. Carry the 1. 6 times 3 is 18. Put it out there. Then we go put a 0 here and another 0. 1 times 4 is 4. 1 times 2 is 2. 1 times 3 is 3. Now we add up all the columns. 4 plus 0 is 4. 2 plus 4 is 6. 3 plus 4 is 7. Plus 4 more is 11. Carry the 1. We get 11. 2 plus 8 is 10, plus 1 more is 11. Carry it. 1 plus 1 is 2, plus 3 is 5. Now the last thing we have to do, all right, last thing that we have to do is then we have 3 decimal points in here. So we check 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, so we'd have to move it 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, and there we go from there. right? So it shows something different here. So again, we go and check, see if we did something wrong going through prior multiplication. All right? So, oh, this should be 19. 6 times 3 is 18, plus 1 more is 19, which changes that. So, made a mistake, go back through, check your work again, but those are how we do it. For multiplication now, in terms of fractions, we go ahead and multiply straight across. So we go 3 times 16, 8 times 21. 3 times 16 is 48, 8 times 21 is 168. Simplify from there. In this case, I could divide each side by 24. So you could say 2 and go by 2's. Keep reducing down by 2's. All right? But you want to check, simplify as far as you can, and simplify to 2/7. But for multiplication and fractions, remember, multiply straight across. So here we have a fraction, a mixed fraction, so we need to multiply 3 times 5. 3 times 5 is 15, plus 3 more gives me 18. Just leave the negative sign on there, don't worry about if this is negative here. What we look at is we have a negative and a positive, so in the end, I'm going to have a negative. So we multiply straight across, 18 times 10, 5 times 9. If those of you who know how to, you can cross cancel. So 18 was 180 divided by 45. You can divide each side by 45, and your answer would be -4/1 or -4. Last one, you have multiple fractions now. You have 2/3, you have a negative and a negative. Again, remember, 2 negatives make a positive. So then you have a positive times a positive. So in the end, my answer is going to be positive. So always kind of go through the process. What should we get in the end? So just 4 can be written as -4/1. Now we multiply straight across. 2 times 9 times -4. 3 times 7 times 1. So 2 times 9 is 18, times 4 is 72. 3 times 7 is 21. And then simplify from there. Divide each side by 3. And we get -7, or -24/7, which we know that we should go back and check now, did I do it right? And we look at it. This shouldn't be negative, because remember, we have a negative and a negative. So we look right here, see how I dropped the sign? So this is a sign, this right here, we should get rid of it. It shouldn't be a negative, it should be a positive from here. Okay, so now we're going to go dividing. Same rules apply. So if you have 2 negatives, you get a positive. If you have 2 positives, you get a positive. If you have a negative and a positive, it'd be a negative, or vice versa. So if they're opposite signs, you'll get a negative. All right, if you divide, 0 divided by any number is 0, but if you go 0 or x, a number, 5 divided by 0, that's when you get, this isn't possible. All right, so you go ahead and divide, same rules apply. So a negative divided by a negative should give me a positive. So, again, just wanted to show you, we have 231. 231 divided by 21. Again, I'm not worried about signs because I know in the end I should have a positive. So 21 doesn't go into 2, so I put a 0 there. 21 goes into 23 one time. So 1 times 21 is 21. Subtract, 3 minus 1 is 2. Bring down the 1. 2 minus 2 is 0. How many times does 21 go into 21? 1 time. So my answer is 11. Positive 11. Go ahead and do it with a decimal point. So we come here, divide it, so negative. In the end, a positive and a negative will give me a negative. So I go 7.38. Divided by 1.8. Okay? I'm going to move this decimal point over 1 spot. So I have to move this one over 1 spot. And so now we check. So it's 18 divided by 73.8. Does 18 go into 7? No. 18 goes into 73 how many times? And so we look at it, 18, 36. So 4 times. So 4 times 8 is 32. 4 times 7, 4 times 1 is 4 plus 3 more is 7. So I have 72, subtract. 3 minus 2 is 1. Drop down the 8 is 18. And now we go ahead. We put our decimal point right there. 18 divided by 8. How many times does 18 go into 18? 1 time. So we'd have 4.1. Now, again, remember we divided up positive by negative, so it should be a negative. Okay? So that's what you're going through. The big emphasis is a negative and a negative, make a positive. If they're opposite signs, a negative and a positive, that's when you get a negative.